few weeks ago, Jim Nicole and Heather Tressler, Monica and I sat down to talk about an approach to the evening. I wasn't surprised to learn that Jim and Heather's work was already underway. And I'm delighted to be standing here to introduce them and to welcome return of poets to the galleries. And before I do, I want to invite everyone to, at the end of tonight, if we have time, or if you have time to come back to see the statues in the Jepson Ideas Lab upstairs. This is a first of its kind, this exhibit. These types of statues have never been exhibited anywhere, and I'll talk a little bit about their history in a moment.
Free Earthen Women. She raises her arms with a purpose, as if to hail, to embrace, to praise, to rebuke, to ward off, to say enough. I cannot say which. Her hands are cut off at the wrists. The losses are not hers. They are mine. She did this in an ancient time, and I scarcely learned from her example, if at all. Thinking to raise my arms in kind, as if to follow her lead in some diminished way. To hail, to praise, to say enough.
And it's titled Telepathies Between the Monastery and the Museum. And I'll just say too that in my manuscript I'm trying to plumb the connections that siblings, and perhaps particularly sisters, have that seems not to need much in the way of technology for communication. Miles from me, you are lifting chi up and pouring it down. Lodged inside your thinned left arm, a plastic port tucked into a white sock drips in the drugs, one small bead at a time. Perched in your aortic arch, the tube barely moves in your subclavian vein, as if a sea frond holding itself steady in the harbor waters of Vena Cava. 3 statues of Orontes from Canossa transfix me in a museum 1,000 miles from your monastery, their lithe arms held aloft in girlish prayer, too joyous for solemnity. In terracotta frocks, glazed and loosely girdled, their arms spool an epic's thread, untroubled by time's warped weave. Saintly, these Salomes, seducing eternity.
This embodied soul of the faithful departed, but faithful to whom? To what? Wherefore? She, the one who prays, as if on a cross, as though in tongues, as if a clay statue could pray for others, as though she could be anything other than the Spirit made earth. Negotiating with the gods, grieving that they might yield, not for the many, but for the few. Would you have her for your own? Would you send her back to the hereafter on her behalf?
The museum, my secular sanctuary, stills the wearied mind with the beauty in its static forms. I study 3 statues, as if in prayer, tracing dress folds incised millennia ago by hands tutored on older Grecian models. Kouros boys, those bristling adolescent Apollos in the West Side Story, evolved into women kindly gazed, tenderly gestured, beloved of an ancient past.